Hello, welcome to Wednesday, October 7th, daily instructional lesson. Today we have a lot to cover, want to get through. Don't forget I have 2 Google Meets today. Every Wednesday I have these meetings 11 to 11:30 and then 2:50 to 3:30. So hopefully we'll get through a lot that if you do have any questions, you can come to the Google Meet and ask. Please don't feel intimidated or scared. I've only had like 2 people show up. On an afternoon, I've had nobody show up. So please come if you need help. Email me your questions ahead of time if you want. I will just discuss them that someone needs help with this and go over it. It's very casual. Everybody's fine. Everybody just asks their questions that have been there, the 2 that have been there, and I answer them and they listen to it. And when you're done and you have had all the help, you are free to go. All right, so let's get started today. All right, so we're going to have a little mini lesson over simple, compound, and complex sentences. We're going to just kind of wrap up the thesis statement, counter argument. We might not have had all the time we needed to get that done, so we're going to try to finish that up and then move into writing our first body paragraph. So for your warm-up today, I would like for you to read these sentences and see if you can identify if they're simple, compound, or complex. So go ahead and pause your video and do the warm-up. Okay, we're going to review your warm-up. Okay, so here are your sentences. Simple, compound, or complex. So the very first one is simple. It has a subject, boy, and a verb, ran, and it expresses a complete thought. So what it is, it has a single independent clause. An independent clause is just a simple sentence that has a subject and verb and complete thought. Think about how when you're independent, you can stand on your own. So you don't need any support. You make sense completely by yourself. And that is what a simple sentence is. Our next one, notice we have 2 simple sentences. The boy ran and he got some ice cream. And we're joining it with the coordinating conjunction. If you remember these from junior high or even elementary school, you're fanboys. For and nor, but, or yet so. And when you join those 2 you create a compound sentence when you use a coordinating conjunction. But notice I've actually purposely left something off. We are missing a proper punctuation. This cannot be a proper compound sentence unless we have a comma before the coordinating conjunction. So you need to always make sure you have a comma before your conjunction. If, when you look at the coordinating conjunction, there's a complete sentence before it and a complete sentence after it. And again, these are 2 now independent clauses. Sentence number 3 is a complex sentence. Complex sentences have what's called a dependent clause. The dependent clause, just like the word dependent, you're a dependent of your parents. You cannot stand on your own. You need support. You need some guidance. And so dependent clauses depend on the independent clause to make sense. These are the type of sentences a lot of you answer on your worksheet, and I always have to put like not a complete thought, because you want to answer because Romeo loved Juliet, and that's not a complete thought. All right, so these dependent clauses start with what's called a coordinating conjunction. Before is one of our coordinating conjunctions. If you notice, if you take off the word before and you just said he went for a run, that's a complete thought. But just by adding a coordinated conjunction before that complete thought, it automatically makes it into a incomplete thought. Before he went for a run, there's more information needed. Okay, so what are you wanting to tell us? And then it depends on the independent clause. The boy laced his shoes up to help the sentence make sense. And this helps create a complex sentence. Notice when you have a dependent clause at the beginning of the sentence, you always use a comma when you're joining it to the independent clause. So there's always, if dependent at the beginning and independent at the end, you separate the 2 with the comma. Now, these types of sentences are great for commentary, for even your concrete details, because you're able to say a lot in very few words. All right, our next one is a compound sentence, but this one is punctuated properly. We've got a complete thought here. The boy ran, and we have he was tired. And we have our comma before the coordinating conjunction, and we're joining again two independent clauses together. Our last one is another example of a complex sentence. Again, it starts with that subordinating conjunction afterwards. Notice again, if you took that word off, he ran to get ice cream would be a complete sentence, but by just adding this subordinating conjunction, it changes it into an incomplete thought. The first part, he took a break, is a complete thought. So we have an independent clause plus a dependent clause. Notice the dependent clause is at the end, and we don't need a comma, only if it's at the beginning. If it's at the end, we don't need a comma. Oops, I need to change that. Okay, so take a moment just to watch this video about compound sentences, just to reinforce it as we will continue to practice in using this in our writing. Take a moment and watch the video. Okay, so again, let's go over types of sentences. We have simple sentence, which has the subject and verb and express a complete thought. The baby cried for food. I always like to look for the verb first, look for the action. What's showing action here? Cried. Who or what cried? Baby. So there's our subject and verb. Compound sentence again is two independent clauses or two simple sentences joined with a coordinating conjunction or fanboy. They spoke to him in Spanish, but he responded into English. Here is our first independent clause. So what's the action? Spoke. Who spoke? They. So there's our complete thought. Here's our second one. He responded in English. Verb responded. Who or what responded? He. And then we're joining it with a comma and a coordinating conjunction. Complex sentences have a dependent clause plus an independent clause, and our dependent clauses start with subordinated conjunctions or relative pronouns. And these are just the list. You're going to have to learn how to memorize those words as well. And after is when our subordinating conjunctions. After he ate lunch at the Cheesecake Factory, dependent clause does not express a complete thought, and since it's at the beginning, we're going to put a comma after it. Tim went to the gym to exercise. All right, so that's just a little lesson here on types of sentences to see how well you do here. She returned to the computer after noticing it was damaged. What type of sentence is this? What's our verb? Return. Who or what turn? She. So I know I've got an independent clause, but notice here is a subordinating conjunction after noticing it was damaged, and it comes at the end. So this type of sentence is complex. Joe ate macaroni for dinner, and he had cake for dessert. We have ate. Who ate? Joe. There's our independent clause. And had. Who or what had? He. And those are two independent clauses. So we have a compound sentence. Although one of our coordinating conjunctions, subordinating conjunctions, although he was wealthy, dependent clause, he was still unhappy, independent clause. So that makes it complex. The museum was very interesting as I expected. As is a subordinating conjunction, and there's our dependent clause with our independent clause in the beginning, and that's complex. Jessica took her mom to the store, and who took, or what's the action? Took, who or what took? Jessica, and we have a simple sentence. The shoplifter had stolen clothes, so he ran once he saw the police. All right, we have a comma and a coordinating conjunction, and we have a compound sentence. Okay, so that was a great little mini lesson. Here's some more videos for you to watch about thesis statements versus topic sentence, and it focuses more on the thesis statement. So go ahead and pause the video and watch. Okay, so yesterday we finished this up, or should have finished this up. If you didn't, make sure you put your claim. We took off some parts of this. sure to block that out. So we put down our claim. What is our subject that we're talking about? What side are we taking for? Then we had our stemmed out response. The school day should or should not start later in the morning. And then, of course, you give your 2 reasons, and you gather those reasons from your research. And then you wrote a thesis. The school day should start later in the morning because argument 1, argument 2, or should not, and then list argument 1, argument 2, and this becomes your thesis statement. So that's just pretty much wrapping up what we went over yesterday. We didn't finish it. Counter argument. So this is on the back of the paper that we did yesterday. So what you have to do is you have to go back to yesterday's worksheet. So the 6, you'll need to go and click on this worksheet, and let's see. Trying to get it to show me without showing me students. Okay, I'm gonna pause. Okay, so here we have this was our packet where we found our articles yesterday, where we went and highlighted information and found reasons to support both sides. And then here's the worksheet we had yesterday. Again, this is what we were filling out. This is what you should have filled out. And now today we're going to finish completing out our counter argument. So make sure you go back to the 6 and complete this worksheet, or use this worksheet as we go along with the slides. So counter argument. So the counter argument, the way we're going to write this is we're going to have our topic sense, which is our counter argument. We're going to have the reasons why somebody might believe this way, and the reason proving they are wrong, an explanation of why they are wrong, and the transition sentence. Remember, the counter argument is happening early because we want to discredit it so that the reader does not even think about it again in the following, after they read our next 2 body paragraphs. So let's go back and remember our warm-up the other day about animal testing. So here's the thesis statement. Animal testing is justified because research benefits human life, and humans can learn more about animal health from testing. So you can see we've given 2 reasons of why we should continue it. So we want to acknowledge the other side and say that, we do see their reasoning, but we don't agree with it. So some people think animal testing is never justified because, now why would people think that? Because animals shouldn't be hurt or killed. However, this claim is, and we're going to have to explain how it's invalid. Sorry. So let me go back. However, this claim is invalid because if we didn't test on animals, humans could be hurt and killed. And then this one we're just not going to do, so we can X that box out. And then we're going to think of some reasons that support our claim. If we didn't test products on animals to see the effects caused by the products could harm people. It's pretty simple, pretty easy. So again, we just want to make sure we discredit that counterclaim. So now it's your turn. Some people think, and this is what we're going to put the opposite. Some people think it's a good idea to start school later. Some people think it's a good idea not to have school start earlier. However you would like to word it. But this is the opposite of what your claim is. Okay, so school should or should not start later in the day because some people think that because starting later or starting early, and then insert your reason. However, this claim is invalid because, and then you can have to give your reason here. Insert your reason or your counter argument. So pick that one really strong bit of evidence, or what are you using to support that, and then elaborate on your information here. Okay. And so on our counter argument box, we're just going to plug in this information. Some people may think that school should or should not start later in the morning because, and then make sure you insert your reason here. However, this claim is invalid because, again, make sure you type it up here. And students will be more successful if school, you could say, started or does not start later in the morning. Okay, body paragraph number 1. So what I would like for you to do actually when you finish that, on today's, today's lesson had an activity or has the graphic organizer, which you will be recording your essay. Let's see. Okay. So let's go to this graphic organizer. So we're not doing the introduction yet, so do not do this. We're going to be doing that on Thursday, and probably Thursday, Friday. But right now we did do the counter arguments. Let's go ahead and take that information that you just did and plug it here into the counter argument boxes. And before we get on to the next page, which is the body paragraph, we're going to need to open up our T-chart. Our T-chart is going to help us pull together our information, and all we have to do then is transpose it into our graphic organizer. So you have a claim. You're either for or you're against starting school early, and you have your 2 reasons. So what I want you to do here is you're going to write your topic sentence for that first body paragraph, which is about the first reason you chose to prove that going to school later is good or going to school later is not any better. I'll show you what that looks like. Oh, actually, before we do that, I forgot. Let's watch this little video and start the parts of the argument. Okay, after you've watched that video, again, let's just kind of recap the body paragraph. If you kind of look at the way we color code and do the writing, the topic sentence, the closing sentence being our top and our bottom, it's almost like a hamburger. You've got your bun and your top and bottom, which will be your topic sentence and closing. You've got concrete detail and commentary. And the commentary, that's the real meat of your writing. That's the deep thinking. Concrete details is just information you're gathering to use as evidence. And then we're back to the bottom of the bun for the closing. So kind of think of that as the way you want to sandwich in your information that you've gathered. So here's what our T-chart looks like, our T-chart worksheet. And over here, see, these are concrete details. So we're going to find 2 concrete details and then explain how those 2 concrete detail sentences support our topic sentence for our first body paragraph. So if we go back to that example of animal testing is necessary because it saves lives, and we go back and we think about what were our reasons for doing that. We talked about insulin as a life-saving drug that diabetics was tested on animals beginning in 1923. And we also used talked about pacemaker. So we talked about coming up with medical breakthroughs with animal testing. So these would be my 2 concrete detail sentences. And I need to explain how these 2 sentences support my topic sentence. This shows that, remember we always start with this shows that medical research on animals allows many people to enjoy a better quality of life because of new discoveries in medicine and treatments. So basically all we have to do now is boom, 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 pull this information and put it into our graphic organizer. We might fix it up, make it a little nicer if we needed to, edit and revise. But after we've taken that from our T-chart worksheet, which we would have written that here 1 and 2 concrete detail sentences, 1 commentary, then we would open up the graphic organizer. I think I already opened this. That's a T-chart. This one, yes. And then we can go ahead and start recording our topic sentence here. So our topic sentence is blue, our 2 concrete detail sentences. Now notice that this one, sometimes it's not talking about 2 different things. You might talk about 2 different things. Like this one did talk about insulin as one example and pacemaker, but they're all connected because they have to do with medicine. So make sure they're somehow thematically connected, your 2 sentences. Or we could have just done a sentence about insulin and added even some more facts about insulin and that had to do with animal testing. and that could have worked as well. So it just depends on what kind of information you find. So you're going to do the T-chart for the school. Again, what is your first reason? Write your topic sentence, and then what would your 2 concrete detailed sentences look like? And then how would you explain them with your commentary? And then again, go back to your chart and record that. Now, if you don't have, introduction has that topic sentence, and talk about your first argument, make sure transitions are used here in your concrete details, and you have 2 sentences of that. And then your commentary starts with this shows that, and you're again explaining how these 2 concrete details support your topic sentence. And then your closing, you're just restating your topic sentence with the same meaning in different words. Okay, so again, okay, we've already done this. This was just like taking it and putting it into the graphic organizer. So in our T-chart, we wrote our topic sentence, we had our 2 concrete detail sentences, and our commentary, we just took it and bloop, 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 plugged it right into this graphic organizer. Okay, so you're going to start with if school started later, or you don't have to, you can start with whatever you want. And then again, make sure we're using these transitions. Try not to use in both body paragraphs. For example, try to make it varied. Additional commentary, concrete detail commentary. Make sure you put this shows that. And then your closing sentence. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I know it's a lot. We're just trying to get through this. And I know this is hard to trying to watch these videos and listen to me go through this with you. But if you need any help, please let me know. We can have a 101, or please come to the Google Meet today, and I can help you. I promise you, you're not the only one with the same question. There's probably everybody has the same question you do. Again, if you're struggling, please ask for help, because writing is so important, and it is what we're going to be doing all year. So if you can't figure it out now, we need to get it knocked out soon. So again, I'll see you at the Google Meets hopefully, and have a great day.